Welcome to episode 3 of the Rise Up Odyssey podcast. I'm your host, Danny, with my co host, Haley. And today we're going to talk about overcoming obstacles and doing hard stuff, right?
Yeah, it says stuff.
Yeah, that's what the outline says. We're a
Yeah.
family friendly channel here.
Oh, we are following.
Well, the AdSense likes family friendly, so we're family
Or-
friendly.
hmm. Yeah. Talk about obstacles and doing hard things.
hmm That's the idea, at least for today. But I mean, first, you have to tell us about your thrilling experience today with your cold shower.
Yeah. So our fear factor this week, we were supposed to do a 1 minute cold shower. Uh,
hmm
I did accomplish that today because that was on my to-do list, and you did not.
To be fair, I haven't worked out yet, so.
Yeah, you still could have jumped in the shower for 1 minute, but
Yeah, that's a lot of effort. Next week, I got you next week.
yeah, that's what the episode's talking about. Overcoming obstacles and doing
Oh,
hard things.
oh, so I'm an example of this right now. Did we plan that?
I
Did it just
did
happen?
in my head. Mhm.
Well, so tell us
This
about it.
is, yeah, so I did it and I set a timer for 1 minute and it was a long minute. I stood there and did not move much. And I was like, it has to be almost done. So then I flipped to the other side because I thought it was only fair to get the full experience. Now, I did not put so our shower thing goes like side to side kind of. I didn't
hmm
go all the way to cold. I was not that brave. But it was cold because I like a hot shower. I'm not like a warm-ish shower gal. I like a hot shower. So it was definitely went from hot to cold. And it was an awful experience. And I don't know how I'm gonna do phase one of 75 hard where it's 5 minute shower like that. 5 minutes of cold showering. I don't know how people do these cold plunges. I just am not sure, but I'm gonna have to figure out how to overcome that obstacle, Danny.
Are you one of those people that, does melt your face off kind of hot showers?
I don't know. I think that's a matter of opinion. Just like what's a cold shower and what's a hot shower.
Okay, so you are. All right, fair enough.
I don't think I melt my skin off because then I would have very dry skin and red skin all the time. But if it's like
That's fair.
chilly outside or the house is chilly, it's probably going to be a warmer shower because I just don't really like to be cold. Yeah, we walked in negative, what, 30-degree temperatures, but I had quite a bit of clothing on and my
That's
heated
true.
pants.
Yeah, you were spoiled
Mhm.
with those. That's fair. Well, I know some
Not
people are really into
spoiled.
it.
I'm
Smart
just better at
purchase.
overcoming obstacles, obviously.
Ah, okay. That's a way of looking at it. Fair enough.
Better
I
prepared.
better prepared. Yeah. I've taken cold showers before in the past. I just haven't done one recently. Usually what I'll do
Yeah.
is I'll end with cold, you know? But I'm also not a person who keeps their eyes open in the shower. I like to close my eyes, you know? And because of the
I don't.
shampoo and the hair and all that. So,
You think people keep their eyes open the whole time?
well, how'd you know that the minute was done? If you just
My
stood there
timer.
still. Oh, did it go off?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it has like a bell. I thought it was
It
just a
has like a
timer.
beeper. Otherwise,
Oh,
yeah, how was I gonna know that it was up? I was not
that's what I
staring at
was saying.
it. It's like a magnetic timer here. Hold on. Just for visual purposes. So here is my timer.
Ah, look at that.
And it's magnetic on the back. So our tub is actually like real metal, like old school tub. So I just magnetized it to the outside of the tub. When I was ready, I reached outside the curtain, clicked it on, and then waited for it to beep and then clicked it off.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, you
You
could
didn't
set
just
your
count the
phone
minute.
timer, but you'd have to reach outside the shower to start your phone timer.
Yeah, or turn it off too, because then it would just go off. And that's a very annoying
Well,
noise too.
yeah, but I don't think you're gonna stay in the cold shower that long when it goes off. You're gonna like shut the water off and then shut the noise off.
Or, yeah, I would immediately just turn it to hot, but that's just me.
Oh, I just shut it off. It was at the end, like you said.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I feel
Also,
like,
my
huh?
also my showers are not that long. I'm not someone to dink around in the shower much.
Yeah, me neither. I think max 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. Like that's hard. 10 minutes is a hard, like long shower.
That's why I'm having such a mental struggle with this 5 minute cold shower because, like we've talked about, is my shower going to be all cold?
Yeah.
Washing this long hair in cold water sounds awful, awfully awful. I might have to just chop it off. Let's be real here. I don't know, but I think I'm going to start like incrementing it. So now I did a minute. So maybe now I go a minute and a half and just like slowly get myself to 5 minutes. We hope.
Yeah, that's probably the move.
Yeah, it's probably part of what we're supposed to talk about today.
Is
Overcoming
overcoming the hard
obstacles.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and not just jumping in head first usually, because it doesn't last.
Leads you to failure.
Well, it depends on how you see failure, but it definitely makes it not sustainable long term.
Okay, that's a better, nicer way of saying failure. But yeah, we had a whole episode on failure, didn't we?
Yeah. But anyway, Danny didn't do his cold shower and I did. Only
No,
one
not
minute.
yet. Yes, only 1 minute. Not yet. I will probably do mine soon.
I mean, would you call that a fear factor?
I would, because you were afraid of it. You didn't want to do it. That's what you said for what, like 3, 4 weeks,
Yeah.
and you did it.
I don't know if it's like a fear like scary. I think it's just a fear of like why? Why would I want to stand there and purposely put cold water on myself when I was just nice and warm?
It's like
What
ice
is this supposed to
rooms.
do? Remind me why this cold shower thing is a thing.
It's good for your dopamine receptors. It's good for
Hmm.
resetting,
Hmm.
and it gives you a lot of dopamine because when you do hard stuff like going to the gym, lifting weights, doing cold showers, yada yada yada, it it's good for you.
Okay, we will see. I okay, fine. I'm gonna try to challenge myself to do at least 1 day a week where I have some sort of coldness in my shower. At least 1 minute.
Okay. This whole
You?
week, I'll
No,
do
like
one.
ongoing. No,
Oh, like
ongoing. Like
forever.
1 day a week. Uh, I never said forever, but I
Okay.
do need to be ready for like what end of April into June to do a 5 minute shower for 30 days straight. Cold
Hmm.
shower. So yeah. What's your plan?
I'm just gonna hop into it and just get it done, brute force it like usual.
Hmm. Because I'm doing it. Okay.
What, phase one in general or the cold shower?
I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, it'd be cool to do phase one and two. Three
Yeah.
seems
Oh,
pretty extreme.
phase two, I'm pretty sure is just 75 hard again for 30 days. I don't
That's
think
why
there's
it's not that
additional.
bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, phase three, we'll see if we get to that this year. Might be a next year thing.
Well, then you got to start off you do the whole year again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a
I sure
lot.
do.
I don't know
Nah,
if
it's not
we
that
get that
bad.
close. We get that close. We might as well do phase three.
I mean, let's see where we are in 8, 9 months.
Yeah, it's a long time away. Well, anyways,
Oh, here we
okay.
are.
I guess let's transition to our main topic, outside of cold showers, but that do does relate pretty well to this. This is the
Did we
doing
want
me.
did we want to cover a book or not a book today?
Oh yeah, you're reading something again, aren't you? Did you finish You Can't Screw
I
This Up?
hope no, no, no. I am reading You Can't Screw This Up by Adam Bornstein. Stein. I'm terrible with names. We will just forgive that. Uh yes, and the book looks like this.
Ah, it's
Oh,
like a
then it went
popsicle.
blurry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a popsicle. he talked a little bit in there about why he picked that cover over other options. And yeah, so I am on chapter 8 out of 14. So fingers crossed, I'm hopefully done with it by the end of next week. And then I can get more of a roundabout viewpoint of it. But so far, he's just talking about how people usually overthink their eating plans, exercising. They're very focused on the outcome, like weight loss, and you overcomplicate things. So then you end up just stopping very much into like diets and why they don't work, but what will work. And
Hmm,
he'll go through his plan. Right now, I'm in the main part of it where there's 5 tools that he suggests, and I'm slowly getting through those.
interesting. Would
But
like
yeah,
crash diets be a good example of that?
what's a crash diet to you? Like keto?
Not like one of those specific ones, but something along the lines of, you usually eat 2,000 calories a day and you start eating 400 calories a day.
Yeah. So the basis of it is like everything else we've talked about. Where are you now and where do you want to be? And you have to meet yourself where you are now. So if you're eating 2,000 calories right now, let's say, or you have no idea, you're just a free for all. And then you go into a drastic change of, oh, I'm only going to eat protein, vegetables, and then minimal carbs or no carbs. Well, he's saying it's not the food that's the problem. It's one, your mindset, because your mind leads and your body follows. So it's your mindset. The things you've been taught and the way that it's reinforced is unhealthy. So if you keep following this diet and this one doesn't work, and then you try this next diet like keto, Weight Watchers, he names many of them. And he says you can do them for a little bit because it's exciting, and then it gets
Mhm.
old or hard. So you stop. Then you go to the next new thing, and then you go to the next new thing. And you just never find something sustainable that works best for you.
Hmm.
So basically, you get maybe to the outcome you want or you don't, and then you fall right back into where you started or heavier in this case. It's like The Biggest Loser. You watch that?
Oh yeah.
And it was so drastic, right? They go from these, lifestyles of probably too much flexibility, very ultra processed foods,
Hmm.
habits that aren't the healthiest, into a whole boot camp experience where they lose what, 100+ pounds
Hundreds of
in.
pounds. Yeah.
And if probably if you look at most of them, majority gained it back plus some, sadly.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think
So
that,
he's, yeah, go
Mhm.
ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that the sustainability is the biggest part of it. And you hear so much about different types of weight loss and fat loss and this and that. And whatever's trending now, like keto's trending or the lion diet's trending, or, you have all these random diets, Mediterranean, I hear about all these. But what I've realized is just whole foods tend to be the best way to go. Foods that have one ingredient tend to be the best way to go. Um, and everything in moderation, I think that's the best way of doing it. But like actual moderation, not like, it's moderation, but I've had, 7 candy bars today.
Yeah, so Adam talks about that's why the book's called You Can't Screw This Up. He wants you to be able to have takeout, enjoy dessert, and take the stress out of dieting. He says a lot of it's just anxiety and stress and what we've reinforced, and that's how you end up in these like overeating episodes or overeating in general. And then the ultra processed food actually tricks our brain into eating more because we're not as satisfied when we eat a lot of carbs and fat and processed things. So yeah, what you're saying, whole food options are better, but he's saying it's not realistic to stick to those all of the time. So
Right.
like part of the book talks about an 80-80 rule. So you eat 80% of the time healthy or options.
Hmm.
So this
And
gives you
then the
little tidbits in
20%.
there. I think that's another one. Yeah. This was like 80% healthy 80% of the time, but 20% of the time, yeah, the other equation would be
Oh, okay.
flexible.
80% healthy, 80% of the time, 20% of the time, do whatever you want. I think it's reasonable.
Essentially within reason. Again, you have to kind of figure out where you are and what's the first step for you and follow through with that and then build off of that. Because again, if you change everything at once, it's less likely to stick.
Yeah, I agree with that. I remember when I was trying to lose about 20 pounds that, what was that, 5 years ago, 6 years ago? Uh, I ended up eating Lunchables for lunch, like the kiddo ones, because that was the
Mhm.
only thing that was super easy to bring with me, so it was convenient. And I didn't have to think about it. So it was just very easy to pull out, eat my 300 calories, and move on. But my lunches used to be, in excess of 1,000 calories. So that's where I cut out.
Mhm. So yeah, what you're saying there, I mean, okay, we're jumping into overcoming obstacles and doing hard things. I think that's been our whole episode so far. But yeah,
Pretty
to
much.
speak on your Lunchable experience, yeah, you went from probably eating out what burgers, fries, whatever was easily available to this Lunchable that was more predictable. You kind
Mhm.
of knew how much calories it had, protein, carb, like all of that stuff, fiber, etc. Um, and so you just started to change it by bringing something. It wasn't perfect, but it was still better.
Yeah, and it wasn't sustainable to your previous point. I did that for maybe 6, 7 months or so. And then
Hmm.
eventually, you get kind of sick of eating the same thing over and over again. So then it would be oh, I'll skip a meal or I'll eat out. And then that was the pattern for a little while to continue losing the weight, which wasn't great. You should always eat something, even if you're in a calorie deficit. Or, I would eat a big meal at the end of the day and compensate that way. Uh, but yeah, that's how I ended up losing the weight. And then, surgery helped me keep it off. But if it wasn't for that, it would have been very hard to keep it off for sure. Not weight loss surgery. Feel like I have to add that context. Nasal surgery.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we call that healthy weight loss or not, but that's for another day.
Yeah, it was a lot of sauna, running. I would run a mile every single day. So it was a lot of sauna, running, and skipping on lunch. That was the way I did it. But I
I
went
would
down from
not.
160 to 140.
Please do not do that. Whoever's watching this, I do not recommend that for weight loss. Just gonna put that out there. I'm very happy it worked for you, and now we're in the opposite boat where you want to gain muscle. So here we are.
Yeah, just gain weight in general, be back to a normal weight, which I mean, we did that. We went from what? When you met me 122, 123 to we're sitting at a healthy 141 today, 142.
No. So you've done
So,
like both things,
yeah.
but also your unhealthy, like heavier time of life. You also had other habits you were probably doing that didn't help the situation.
Yeah, I was consuming quite a bit of alcohol. I would say that. That
Yeah.
was probably also the Achilles heel there because alcohol has a what 90 calories a shot or so, and if you're just having 5, 6 shots a night, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. But no, that's great that you kind of cut back and now we're trying to gain weight. So it's the whole opposite here. But
Yep.
yeah, overcoming obstacles, we should probably kind of talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Well, it's what
Okay.
we've been talking about the whole time, right?
Yeah, that's right. For for me, I think getting started with fitness in general, I didn't know what I was doing. So that's where I went into college, into kinesiology. I don't know if I talked about this. Have I with us yet?
Maybe in the negative episodes.
Maybe, maybe. So I thought that would be the answer to learn how to do it because I've never had a really strong routine or someone to really coach me or mentor me on how to lift weights, how to be healthy. And I've always wanted that because I felt like the overweight kid in school. So I went into kinesiology and that was not the answer. I learned a ton, met great friends, but really I didn't find consistency until I had my full-time job, probably 3 years after graduating college. Because I was like, okay, I need to just start doing it. So since I worked in the gym, I started to make time for myself. Everyone thinks, hey, you're in the gym all day, Haley. It's easy for you. And I'm like, no, I'm supposed to be working. So I still have to make time for myself to lift and stay on routine, keep what we call motivation, if that's real or not. So overall, I had to build that. plan and follow through, that discipline, grit, resiliency that we've talked about. And I had to start somewhere. And it was very
Mm.
minimal. It was like workout one time this week, maybe two the next. And it was unhealthy too. I didn't know what I was doing. So over a what, 10 to 12 year span, I have come a long way doing 75 hard now. It's like drastic, for being very sedentary, eating whatever was in sight, drinking a lot in college, well, the end of college, and to the point now where I can go 75 days without drinking, trying to eat healthier whole foods, working out every day, twice a day, mostly walking on some days. That's crazy how far you can come if you just keep trying.
It's not going to be perfect. It never is. But if you just keep putting in, what were you saying? Like small wins consistently compound over time into changing you as a person. Like
Mhm.
before, when I went sober, all I could think about was for context, I went sober for about a year from 2020 to 2021. And coming off of it, I couldn't wait to start drinking again. But now, last year, I think I drank maybe 10 times total the whole year. I had three stints of sobriety, one for 105 days, one for like 30 days, and one for 75 days, something along those lines. And now it's not as fun to drink anymore. I don't know if you feel the same, but I don't crave it.
Occasionally, do I want a good beer, not like a Bud Light or anything like that. Hopefully, I can say that out loud. Just like a good old micro IPA, hazy IPA or something. But other than that, no, I don't like the aftermath. The aftermath of feeling like crap the next day. Like, let's be real, headaches, gut ache, all sorts of weird things start happening to your body, and you do nothing.
Nope. For sometimes 3 days.
Depends if you've overconsumed.
Yes, if you if you overconsume, sometimes it'll put you out for 3 days. Ask me how I know. But yeah, I think that my relationship with alcohol has gotten a lot better. I don't want to drink as much or at all anymore. Still want to drink Dunkin', still would like a cup of coffee, but the alcohol, I feel like I finally have a pretty good relationship with it after 75 hard. But if you would have said to me 5 years ago that you would quit drinking and you wouldn't like it anymore, I wouldn't believe you.
Oh, same.
Yeah,
My
there's no way.
life, like weirdly, my social life revolved around that. So trying to find new ways has been challenging, but great at the same time. You can go out with people, they can drink. That's totally cool. Or I have like
Mhm.
a 5 ouncer when I'm not on 75 hard with that plan. And still can be just fine.
Yeah,
Water, hop water, NA on occasion if I want the calories.
it also makes for
Soda.
soda. Also makes for more fun social events, I feel like too, because there's never a question of, oh, did they mean that? Because you're all sober. When you've been drinking, you could have been like, oh, I don't know if they meant that or something along those lines. So you always know that if they're sober, they're probably not lying to you.
Um, yeah, I guess. I don't know if I'm on the same page with that, but if it's valid to you, then I respect
That's fair. Uh,
that.
but what else
But
did we want? Go ahead.
uh so it's like people are somewhere, right? I talked just briefly about how I got started with fitness and now we're into 75 hard, which is a whole nother ballpark. And you started out where?
On my fitness journey, um,
Yeah, in general. Yeah.
well, they forced us to, we had the mile run in middle school. I don't know if you guys had that, but my fastest mile back then was I think 12 minutes. And one of my biggest things was to change that, across the span of my life. And in high school, I didn't really focus on it. I did the pacer test a few times, if you guys had that. Um, it was that beeping thing. Okay, no, might have been a Chicago suburb thing. Uh, but we did that. I also started lifting weights in high school, my sophomore year. I got into weight training fun fact, I never met the physical requirements to stay in that class, but my teacher liked me and he was a good guy and great coach. And he kept me for the entertainment, which was very nice of him. So he kept signing off on my physicals, which is very
Mm.
nice of him. So I got to stay in weight training for 3 years, even though I was more of a coach. So I ended up coaching more than I ended up lifting, obviously. And then 2015 rolled around. I did a lot of lifting outside after work, but ended up taking more of that coaching role. And then wasn't until like 2018, I would say that I regularly started lifting weights here and there, a lot more consistently than before. Started running the mile, ended up taking my 12-minute time down to a 6:42. That was the fastest I ever ran.
Dang.
And yeah, and then surgery. So we lost all that. Now I think I run a 750, but I haven't trained for, you know, you've known me, what, 4 years? I don't think I've trained for those 4 years.
Yeah, I told you I'd like to do a 5K this year, so maybe you guys will get to hear about that if we commit.
Yeah, if we commit to that, that'll be fun.
But yeah.
Sure. I accidentally ran that 5K last year when we had the challenge. Remember that?
Mm,
And that was 40 minutes. That was a lot of
mm,
running and walking. That was the first time I
yeah.
ever ran for distance. I've never run for distance. So,
Mm.
but yeah,
But yeah,
anyway, all
like,
that to say, that's where I started.
mhm. So if someone were to get started, what advice would I give them? Ready? Oh, okay. So
Go
what I
for it.
would say is just start walking. Honestly, that's kind of where I started at one point, just to go out in the mornings before work, a 10-minute walk, get my head straight before I had to go in and do everything else for the day. So the easiest thing to do is to literally just start walking, getting some steps in and movement. That'd be the number one thing I would say to just start with if you're not doing that now. What
Yep.
about you?
You know, two people I know came up with this really good idea to get people started. I don't know.
Oh,
The
that's
the
right.
rise up something Odyssey challenge. I don't know. We'll put a link in the description, but that's kind of what we created is to get people started. I would get I would start there. But even before that, I agree. I would start walking for those 10 minutes. But
Awesome. So get walking.
so get walking. And I think that's a good place to end today's show.
Mhm.
Let's see. This has been episode 3 of the Rise Up Odyssey podcast with your host, Danny, and my co host, Haley. Hope you guys all have a great day.